broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how we get into it. Grease is the word.
It's going to be in my head for like 5 days.
It's going to be in everyone's heads for like a week. Welcome, AfterBuzzers, tuning into AfterBuzz TV's special after show for Grease Live. The nice, fun live production that Fox put on. I'm your host, Marisa Serafini. Joining me, I have
Maria Provenzano.
And where can we find you on social
You
media?
can find me on Twitter at Maria Provenzano and Instagram from scratch with Maria Provenzano. Watch out.
There you go.
And I am Dakota T. Jones. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, any of that, at Mr. Dakota T. Jones.
Yep, and you can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV. Grease Live,
Grease
the first
Live.
live musical on Fox. We've gotten a few live musicals thanks to NBC, but this was the first one for Fox. What were your overall quick thoughts of this?
Okay, so before we start,
Yes.
we should tell everyone.
We should preface this.
that-
And brag.
Yes.
Brag. Yeah.
Definitely
Marissa and I
bragging.
actually just got back from the set. We were like extra live audience members, so we were told to dress the part. We went out there, and Marissa and I were actually on the like right outside the school in the front. We were sitting in the bleachers, and we got to see all the cast run through. We were a part of a few scenes. My grandma told me she saw me, so
My sister says she saw me.
it was a very great night. The cast was incredible. I can't believe we were that close to all of them. And overall, I thought it was amazing. It was an amazing thing to be a part of it and be there.
Yeah.
Well, I watched it from the comfort of the AfterBuzz Studios, and I honestly I had a blast watching it. The songs are so nostalgic, and I mean I was sitting there watching it, and everybody who I'm watching it, we're like dancing to it. We're just like I had goosebumps when Julianne was singing "Hopelessly Devoted." So I just think that there was so much you could feel. Just even watching it, not being there, how much work and effort and just everything that was put into this. It was really well done. I think as a whole, that's my biggest thing. It was well executed.
Very well.
I agree. It was so fun to be a part of it. Dakota and I, we had the fun chance of actually being a part of history.
Yes.
So the audience, coordinator would always remind us, it's like a lot of people tuned in to
They
watch
said
it.
over 2,000 people applied for tickets, and somehow I got lucky enough. I actually had my phone right there, and for some reason the email popped up, and I was like, oh my gosh, so I clicked it, I signed up, I got tickets, still don't know how, but super thankful, even though we
Amazing.
waited,
Yeah.
how many hours in the cold?
Well, we got there at 10 a.m.
Yes.
They didn't let us in until 3:30.
So we literally waited outside because
We
the
waited
parking
for like
structure.
5.5 hours just to get in.
Yeah, the parking structure was open, so all the rain was hitting us in the face.
Oh my
We were
God.
actually given these
was.
ponchos. I still have it in my back pocket.
Mine went somewhere.
It was crazy.
It's a long day.
It was a long day.
It was a long
But
day.
super thankful. What were your thoughts of it?
I really enjoyed it. I've always been a big fan of Grease and just a big fan of musical productions in and of itself. And then I was telling you, Dakota, over the weekend, I watched Grease, the musical, twice already. The movie musical, like twice within 24 hours, because like I'm just a big fan. And to see a live production, and I was saying earlier that before we went live, it's interesting that they went with Grease live this year in 2016 compared to 2 more years would have been the 40th anniversary.
Oh,
That's
that is
very
interesting.
true.
That's
So
true.
I wonder why they did it early, but I'm not complaining whatsoever because it was such a fun experience.
Right.
I wonder if it was just right time, right people.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
and
That
they-
just the momentum was there.
Yeah, and they said they'd been working on this for over a year now. I know they've been planning it for 2 years, but they've been working on it for a year. And I know the cast has been rehearsing for at least maybe 3 or 4 months. So it was just crazy. The energy was high. Every time they would switch scenes, the actors would run out and like run by us, and you could tell they were on a mission. They were taking clothes off, and they were putting wigs on, and it was the most crazy thing to watch them like run
Organized
around.
chaos.
Organized chaos. The thing that I think, now that you say that about wigs, I think that was so amazing just watching it. The costuming, the
Yes.
hair, the makeup, the set, like the actual. I think what unless you're a theater geek and you know
yes.
you love I was a theater major, so like
wow.
I live
there you
and
go.
breathe theater.
Yes.
And so watching it with that standpoint, instead of like watching it like you watch a movie, you know,
Right.
where you think of oh, that set's so beautiful, this and that. I watched it like it's so efficient. Like when they had this stage where in the beginning where they're at the school and it slides open.
I was so
like,
impressed
That
by
was
that.
awesome.
so brilliant. It
I
was just
know.
the stagehands who were doing. It was so well executed. So I know they must have done a lot with rehearsals.
Yes.
And it was just brilliant.
Even the part
Brilliant.
where they were, waiting to go into the gymnasium for the dance.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever they were there, and then they just walked through that door, and there it was, like right into the.
Amazing.
It was so cool, and I don't know how they did it or who had the idea, but it was absolutely brilliant to bring in a live audience for all of the sets. I thought that would look really weird, absolute chaos, and I felt it would look weird. Everyone's waving to the camera, "Hi, mom."
Right, yeah.
But everyone seemed to do a very good job of knowing when we were supposed to be excited and then sit down and act normal.
Yeah.
It was just so crazy how they incorporated that, and it's so new. It's like a new idea.
Yes.
No one's ever done that before.
Well, and that's, we had kind of spoken about this, how a lot of times it's hard for theater, especially musical theater, to transition to a movie or television because the mediums are so different. The acting experience is very, very different. And I just thought that by doing that, it sort of reminds the people who are watching at home, like I wasn't there, but the people who are watching at home that this is theater. This is a musical theater production. This is not a movie. This is not this is musical theater. So I think that added a lot to it as opposed to other musicals who have been live on television. And I felt like it almost felt stiff not having that. So having that, I thought brought a lot of energy, which was good because you're in a school. You would think there would be a lot of people there too.
There was no downtime whatsoever.
Oh, it was
Everything.
like go, go, go.
Yeah.
was
And
crazy.
I think the great thing is that because this did film at the WB Studios here in Los Angeles, and I felt for the production aspect that it just added more legitimacy to it because they're actually in sound stages. Like they're in an environment where that's what they do every single day.
Yeah.
For like they know how studios are ran and like just production aspect and going live. And I think they really use the stages well from like one to the next during transitions. And even, we saw the actors in between scenes like literally running, like full on
And it
running
was
back
wet.
and forth
It was
right in
so
front
wet.
of us.
It was raining. It was they had a tarp over the school part where we were at, but sometimes the wind would hit it just right, and this
And,
huge
like,
pocket
rain.
of water
Oh my gosh.
would hit so hard with so much force, and
you felt it.
Yeah, like it was scary because someone, if they were running through there, could have easily gotten hurt.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
much water was coming down.
It's amazing because the reason why there's so many studios and everything out here is because Los Angeles, it never rains.
Yeah.
What are
It never
the
rains.
odds?
The one day.
Thank you, El Nino.
Yes, but you know what? I will say that it truly was the traditional theater thing of the show must go on.
Yes.
And with the other part of that, so the rain, the show must go on. El Nino became another character in the play,
Yes.
or in
Yeah.
the musical. But also, I think we're all in agreement to this. We bow down to the greatness of Vanessa Hudgens.
Yeah.
Her dad had passed away just hours, I believe, before she had to actually go do this production, and she was flawless. And she was so together. Like you guys didn't, they were there and had no idea. Whereas I was, I had access to all social media and I was
Yeah.
reading things that were
didn't.
happening. But yeah, you guys couldn't have phones or anything.
We weren't allowed any technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so not knowing that day, you would have never guessed. You said that she would have had anything like that.
Yeah.
So hats off to her.
Yes.
Hats off to
Hats
you.
off to her.
Applaud to
Sorry
her that
for your loss.
yes,
Yes, we're sorry for
really
that.
are.
Applaud. Yes, we applaud you for, a number of reasons. Because
That-
not only did she show up, she did amazing.
Yeah.
She did.
And
Yeah.
so many people think she's just this Disney star that got lucky and got to do all these cool things. For someone to show up and to do as great as a job as she did after her dad had just passed away a few hours beforehand was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and she got her start on Disney, like that really threw her into the spotlight. But she is an actress.
She is.
with talent, and she's a singer. She has all these accolades
Yeah.
to her. It was like Disney's just her start.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
But she is an actual true professional.
Yes, she's been on Broadway. I wish I could have seen her perform on Broadway because she has just this amazing energy. Even like in between when she was like running to the other stage, she was like, "Come on, guys,
More
so she's just like
applause.
stating
More
character.
applause.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
stating
Yes.
character
That's
the
cool.
entire time. So did Kiki Palmer. There was a exchange between her and a cheerleader. The cameras
gosh, I
weren't-
love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the cameras weren't even on them, and they were still like in character and like being all funny. And it just
I love that.
I love when people take their job as an actor seriously and live that character.
Well, Vanessa Hudgens, I will say, one of the things, because it's hard with these characters being so nostalgic, and we know them so well because we've seen the movie a million times, that it's hard to. It's hard to actually like do the character and be it, and there's doing the character and doing the impression of the character. So it's there's a fine line. But watching her, I was like, she did that character, but she didn't do the act of that character. She was so in the moment, and she was that.
character.
She was
Rizzo. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was her own spin too.
Yes.
It's like it was very Vanessa, but very Rizzo.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a testament to her acting abilities. And let's also talk about the rest of the cast. I mean, we had a great lineup. I mean,
Yes.
Julianne Hough, who has amazing history with Dancing with the Stars. She knows what it's like to perform live. Like
She's been doing this her
every
whole
single
life,
week.
yeah.
She's an amazing dancer and a singer, and she's also done a lot of live productions as well for musicals. And she was in Burlesque and Footloose.
She did Footloose and
Footloose.
What am I thinking? The one with Tom Cruise?
Rock of Ages.
Rock of Ages.
And this is a little off topic, but isn't she also in Dirty Grandpa?
Yes, she is. She is. I just saw an interview. They
is.
interviewed on Rachel Ray, her and Aaron, and they showed a clip of that
Which
one.
just shows that her
Which is
variety
interesting,
of roles she can do. Like she can be like in all these musical theater things. She can be Dancing with the Stars and then Dirty Grandpa.
Yeah, it's just such a talented group of actors.
I think,
And you throw them all together.
I mean, I can't think of another person who could have done what Julianne Hough did tonight
Yeah.
in that role with so much perfection in every single part. I think a lot of people don't know about her singing abilities, like you guys were saying. And I watched with a couple of people here, and they were just like, I didn't know she could sing. Like, she's an amazing dancer, but she's so well-rounded. And I thought she did, what a hard role to do.
Yeah.
I mean, Olivia Newton-John,
was
and
the
she did it. I thought she did it, and I don't think she did it in a way where she was trying to be like Olivia Newton-John. I think she did it, like you said, kind of the same as Vanessa. She took her own spin on it too.
Yeah. Dakota, what did you think of Julianne Hough? Did she live up to your expectations of Sandy?
She really, really did. When I first, I watched the movie, or like the old movie, the original, like yesterday again, because I was just like, I gotta see it before I see this so I can compare. And I was like, really, like, I wonder if she's going to do this character justice. Not that I doubted her. I was just like, this is like a huge character to take on. And after seeing her tonight, I think I liked it better than the actual original, just because.
Wow.
Better than Olivia
That's
Newton-John.
a big statement.
That's a
no
bold
offense to her.
statement.
Yeah, no offense to her. She's incredible,
No,
but
yes.
Yeah.
just because the energy she brought, maybe because it was live and it wasn't on like, oh, we're just shooting a movie. Like, this is it. This is like go all or die, like kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
She brought it, and it was just like I honestly liked her better than the original.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, think about it though too, because in the and correct me if I'm wrong, in the movie, and I'm not sure about Broadway, but they didn't add in the cheerleading. Like in the movie, Sandy's not a good cheerleader.
No.
And so in this, because Julianne Hough is pretty epic, they're just like I felt like I wanted to see more of Julianne dancing, and so they did have that cheerleading part where they had her dancing, but I'm like, I want more. I want more dancing.
That was so funny during the cheerleading part because we were in that
That's where
segment.
you guys were.
That's-
Okay.
We were
Segment we were
sitting
in.
there. That happened right in front of us. The audience member who was in charge of like, this is when you applause and
Okay.
whatnot, like the
Yeah.
what do you call them? The crowd
Audience coordinator.
Yeah.
The wrangler.
Yeah,
The
the
wrangler.
wrangler, the audience
Wrangler.
wrangler. But
Get it together.
right before they filmed that scene, they're like, okay, everyone's not going to applause during Patty's audition,
Yeah.
but every time Sandy performs, we're going to applaud and love it like no other.
Yeah.
So and they had to do that a couple times. They're like, we love Sandy's performance, not Patty's.
Yeah.
I love it.
So when that happened, it was like, okay, don't applause for Patty, applause for Sandy,
Yeah.
like over and
I
over.
love
I have a question for you guys. What did you guys think of the opening, like when it first opened, and Jessie J kind of ran the show for a while, and she got up there on the platform, and she rocked it out. I loved that.
So I was skeptical, I to be honest with you, and I love Jessie J. I think she's I mean, her voice is amazing.
Yeah.
I thought that it was I was interested, I think, more than anything else, because in the beginning, I'm like, what are they going to do about this rain? And I didn't realize how much stuff was going to be outside, especially in the open. But I loved it. I loved her. I loved how she sang it. I loved like you could sort of see the backside of the show, if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
And I kind of had a geek out moment because whenever we were leaving, we were like, all right, we got to get to AFTERBUZZ Studio. We got to go.
We literally came straight from Grease Live, you guys.
We really did, and we
are
ran.
still in our get-up.
She ran in heels.
I ran in high
I
heels.
was wondering how they were going to make it here. I was sitting there, I'm like, I'm so warm and cozy.
I know.
No, I'm drinking a hot beverage because I'm still defrosting right now. It was freezing.
It was.
And for California standards, it was actually really cold.
It really was. It was. He said like 48 or something like that.
Yeah, but with wind chill, it had to be at least 35.
Yeah.
And we were in the cold for 9 hours.
It was
9
worth
hours,
it though.
you guys. It was totally worth it.
Because like the thing that I geeked out about was we were leaving and Jessie J was like leaving off the separate exit, and I literally had a one-on-one connection with her.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
She looked at me and I looked at her, and no one else kind of saw her at that moment, and I just waved and I said hi, and she gave me the biggest smile and waved back at me, and that was awesome because I love her so much.
She's great.
Yeah.
And I thought, because I had seen, the build up to it, there's all these, clips on the website, and they were showing her just like singing, and I just love the energy she brought.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good way to kick it off.
And at first I thought she was actually going to be a big character because, I was looking at the
Yeah.
cast list, and I was like, oh, like, which character is she going to play? And it was kind of interesting that they incorporated a few people who really were just there to sing, and I loved that.
Oh, yeah. We'll definitely get to the performances and whatnot.
Yeah.
What I loved about Jessie J, because it is 2016.
Yes.
And they had to modernize this play because it's been around for decades now. But I really love the fact that they brought in a female.
Yeah.
To sing this iconic opening song of Grease, that was originally sung by Frankie Valli, which, love Frankie Valli in Four Seasons. But I think it was really great that they added a different new spin to an opening of the Grease Live.
I agree. I guess I never really even thought about it that way, but that's a very cool statement. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they did a lot of fun changes that, didn't bother me whatsoever.
Yeah.
While we do this. Okay, well, let's, keep going about the cast a little bit. Aaron Tveit, who's well established. He's well established Broadway performer, and people might notice him most from Les Miserables. He played Enjolras. I think he's great. He has an amazing voice. He really embodied Danny.
Wasn't there some controversy when all of this came about that some people were upset that he was going to play Danny? Because that's what I heard. I heard that people...
I'm sure that
there's always both
sides. There was
sides.
someone upset about Julianne being Sandy,
And
who else is going to be?
I'm trying to...
No one else could have
People
done
are always
better.
going to be upset.
Yeah, you're not going to please everyone. I think probably the biggest controversy was he's not a brunette.
Yeah.
That
was the main
that's
deal.
probably the
People were so
only
mad
thing
about
that people
that.
But
were
I will
upset
tell
about.
you, I thought about that the entire time I watched it. I swear to God.
Really?
Yes. I'm
Wait,
am I
really?
the only one that thought, I'm watching it and I'm like, but he doesn't, I don't see Danny in him, but it's I love him. But I didn't, it's Sandy's blonde. She looks like, Doris Day. That's the whole, point. It's so, I totally, when you think about it in the terms of, of what you remember them a certain way. I will say, when I looked at him, I was like, part of me did miss that. I swear, and I didn't even really think about it until you pointed it out, that of him not being brunette. But I thought about it the whole time.
In real life, it looks brown. It
Okay.
looks
Yeah.
very dark. But I noticed
With the rain, it looked brown.
Yeah, with the clips that I've seen beforehand, I was like, oh, well, he's not, really dark-headed.
Yeah.
But during the show, when it was going on, I was like, oh, he must have dyed it, but I guess not.
No, on camera, it looked probably lighter than what it did in person.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's amazing. I mean, in Les Mis, I fell in love with him. And after I saw him in gym shorts today, I loved him even more.
Those were so high-waisted.
Oh,
All the
yes,
guys
they
were high-waisted. I was like,
Yes.
oh, good props to you guys, and you're also flipping in the air.
Oh,
I
wearing
mean,
those
how did
shorts.
they?
And it was wet grass too,
Yeah.
in the cheerleading scene when the guys and the girls were going crazy.
It was all
flipping over
wet.
it. Yeah, it was all wet, and I saw their faces when it was time to go. They were feeling the grass and smelling it and feeling the texture. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you do your thing, but I
That's
can't
scary.
believe that they made it out alive because I was really expecting, not that I was hoping, but I was thinking someone was going to definitely slip.
It's live theater. I
Yeah.
mean,
It
seriously.
is.
Well, what about then Kaneki? Carlos, you get. I'm not
Carlos
familiar with him.
Penavega?
Okay, I'm
Penavega,
I'm not
yeah.
familiar with him actually until I saw this.
He's
married
from
to Alexis
Big Time
Penavega.
Rush.
Yeah.
But I was telling her on the car ride back here, I really enjoy how he is broken out from his boy band days. I was telling her not all boy band people can break out of it like that, but he's done an amazing job on like Dancing with the Stars and just becoming his own as an actor, not just from a boy band. So I thought he did a great job. I feel like he did a great job in the role, and I felt like the hair too was amazing.
It's definitely a different take on what the original Kaneki is, because Kaneki is supposed to be like a bigger guy, you know. So I think in terms of the whole nostalgic factor, it took me away from it. But I thought he did a great job in the role.
Yeah, he's pretty short. He was very short.
And he was shorter than Aaron, who played Danny, and so. That was in the actual movie. You know, they're about the Kaneki's bigger. He kind of is like sort of like the bigger. Like,
he's the tough, intimidating greaser.
Yeah. And so and not that you can't be if you're short. I am very short, so like, I have nothing to say about that. But yeah, so that I think that was one of in terms of casting choices. I'm glad that they didn't stick to like these are the stereotypes that we have to have.
Yeah.
So I mean. That was what I mean, and like speaking of that, I mean Marty, so Keke Palmer. I mean,
Keke Palmer.
Yes.
I was so happy. I was so happy with her. Like, just I thought she did. I liked what she did. I liked what she did in her role. I liked that they gave her, you know, her own time to shine. And the costume in were you guys able to see that from where you were standing?
We weren't. We saw the writers at that point because they had it in the
But we saw how she transitioned to the wardrobe change.
That was crazy.
So that was pretty amazing. So they're in, you know, the bedroom, and she's wearing this like negligee type thing, and she transitions into this amazing red gown and does this like glamorous, you know,
like
song.
Catwalk song,
in front of everybody.
In front of everybody, and then all of a sudden she's honestly. I was looking at her singing. I'm like, when did the dress come on? Like it just magically appeared, and
then
then
never came off of her face.
Never
left her face.
Yeah, and it was so like well done. And then even the transition back.
Yeah.
I was gonna the transition back I thought was just completely okay. So I want to give kudos to William Ivey. Oh my gosh, I had his name. Why did I just lose it?
William Ivey Long.
William Ivey Long. Thank you. An amazing costumer, Tony Award winning, created all of the costumes and customized it. And I love that even, so, you know, going off of even those scenes, but Frenchie, the bra that she wears. Carly Rae Jepsen. That is an actual, like, period piece. Like that's a bra from like the 1950s that they had her wear. So it was pretty cool to see that. But yeah, we can talk about her too.
Yeah, Carly Rae Jepsen. You know, playing Frenchie. I think she did a great job, especially for Frenchie being a character not known for actually having a musical number in Grease. I mean, if you're going to have a talent such as Carly Rae Jepsen in your cast, you have to give her a number. Right. Whether it be write a whole brand new song, have her perform it, or just like sing a few tunes of like a reprise or something.
Right.
And she actually, she's been on Cinderella, I believe, on Broadway.
Okay.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken. And she's really come into her own, making a transition from being like a pop singer to like really getting into the whole musical theater thing. I really appreciated that. I think that it was definitely, out of all the people that were cast, that was the one character I was like, who's going to play this character? And when they said her, I was like, okay, like I can see it. I like it. And so I love how they took a chance on her, and I thought she did an amazing job.
I definitely think it was taking a chance because I didn't see it in the beginning. I was kind of like, okay, and like watching some of the special videos. So I mean, you guys can see on Grease, the Grease Live website on Fox.com. They have all these, you know, videos of what happened, you know, before and like the
behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes type things. And so they showed her. That's when I learned about the costumes, her wardrobe, and I was just kind of like, I don't know if I see it. And then we watched. I was so blown away by her performance. I was so blown away, and I thought that she did it so well. It wasn't overdone. It wasn't. I mean, she was perfect. Yeah. In my mind, she did perfect. Yeah.
Really? Okay. I enjoyed her singing. And I did enjoy her performance. Her portrayal of Frenchie. I think I just love Didi Conn so much, who played the original Frenchie, because Frenchie's supposed to be a very naive person who's like very positive, but is so ignorant of the world. And she doesn't know everything that goes on. And she seems like a very vulnerable type of character. that was brilliantly portrayed by Didi Khan back in the film. And then I see Carly Rae Jepsen, I see like a hip young woman, and that's really the only image I have for her. I didn't see her the vulnerable, sensitive portrayal of someone who's supposed to not really know what to do in life.
Right.
I could see that. And she was a little bit more of a confident.
Yeah,
like,
she seemed way
yes.
more confident than what Frenchie is supposed to be.
Right.
Yes.
Speaking of Didi, let's talk about her.
Let's talk about Didi.
That was exciting to see her. I did not know that was going to happen. And whenever she showed up, I was like, oh my gosh, like that is Frenchie. It was so. You told me it kind of went full circle in that one scene where she was the waitress talking to Frenchie herself. It was so cool. I was like, and someone behind us kept like talking over and over again, like, this is so cool. Oh my gosh. But
yeah.
It was so fun.
It was amazing. Definitely full circle for her, because also, during the rehearsals, during pre-production and whatnot, they had Didi was always like giving advice to like the pink ladies and whatnot, always giving her 2 cents. And then apparently Didi actually brought a prop from the original movie onto the set that like she just kept around, and they had fun. I forget if it was an actual jacket or a pillow.
I feel like on the curtain call tonight, do you think that the jacket that she wore was one of the original Pink Lady
I think so. Well, because you'll see
jacket.
the guy that was with her named Barry Pearl. He was one of the original T-Birds, and he had the jacket. So that's who came out with her. So those two. I have read, I believe Variety.com did an article on how those two have really been the voice for Grease, even the movie Grease that they were in, to this point, talking about like, keeping the integrity of the movie, the residuals, and making sure everybody who was in the movie is taken care of, and just that everything's been done correctly with the movie. And so I think them taking part in this, they wanted it to be done correctly, and kind of wanted to oversee it as well. So they've sort of been like she was like the mother hen of this, movie.
And you can definitely see it. And I think that's great to have like actors who just love what they did so much, and to keep the integrity of something so special and near and dear to the heart. Were
you surprised that not more of the original cast was there? Because I was a little bit surprised. If I saw them two come out, I was like, I wonder why not the others would take advantage of this time to be able to like be on TV and relive this moment. The 40-year anniversary is coming up in like 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't so surprised that a lot of people didn't come back. I'm glad that some people did.
Yeah.
But also, it is a newer performance. You have fresh faces, so allow them a chance also to perform too. But I don't think it took away from anything, the fact that we didn't have more of the original cast. Yeah. Because there's been so many different renditions and variations of Grease. Right. Over all these years, it just makes sense to like have another cast to add.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah.
For a minute, when watching it on TV, when everyone was going out to do their bows, I actually thought for a second that some of the other, like the older cast members were coming out, and I was like, wait, what is that? And then it was just those two, and I was like, oh man. So I actually for a second thought they were going to, but it was just those two, which is okay. I wish I wouldn't have known prior to it. Yeah. But it had come out that she was going to be in it, so I wish they would have kept it a secret. I think it would have been a
great
surprise.
secret if she just showed up as the waitress later on. Oh, that would have been
But
cool.
I loved the touch and the nostalgic touch.
Yeah. Yes. I think it's great that they actually did tell everyone. It's something to look forward to.
True, that's
true. Like you have original cast members like, yes, I'm definitely going to watch you because
that's true.
You're here again. It was like you're back into our lives.
Yeah.
Let's get into the actual performances and whatnot, the numbers.
Really quickly before you get into that. Sure. Hi, Mark from the booth.
What's up, Mark?
When you guys say 40th anniversary, are you talking about the film?
Of the film.
It was the 40th.
The 40th. And then the actual musical was written in 1971, and the first release, or we'll say rotation or production, was 1972.
1972 was Broadway, 71 was Chicago. So technically, it is the 55th anniversary of the musical this year.
There you go. I can't do math, you guys. There you
go. But is it
what's
so?
Another 10
it's almost 40th
years?
of the movie, then, right?
Yeah, almost 40th.
Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting to know that it's older, even more than that.
Yeah. There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Yes,
he's like this mystical voice above us.
Again, Grease has been around for so long.
Yes.
So long. Yeah. And it's definitely been ingrained into our lives. So for the performances, what do you think of the opening? I mean, it was very. We were part of the opening.
Oh,
we were in
that
that
was so
scene.
cool.
Yeah. What did you think of how it just opened up for something that's so live and they haven't done this before?
I want to know what you thought of it since you were the one watching it on the screen.
I mean, I just thought are you talking about when Carly Rae Jepsen came out, or like past
I guess
that?
it was the opening.
Well,
where...
after like Jessie J opened it up.
I'm sorry,
to Grease.
I'm sorry, Jessie J.
Jessie
like,
J
Carly
opened
Rae
it
Jepsen.
up
I'm so
to
into like Frenchie. Oh my gosh.
But like the establishment of the opening shot and like just really introducing the characters.
Starting out, they're like they're at the beach and they have that, and then they kind of pulled out. And when they pulled out, I was kind of curious, like. To be honest, I didn't like how they did that. It was like, okay, just to show you we are on a soundstage kind of thing like that.
Yeah, that was
I
very...
was kind of like, are they going to do that with everything? Because I still want to like have that like false belief that I'm there, you know, and you're not. So that part I was a little, I wasn't my favorite. But then when they had opened up at the school and everything like that, then I thought it was just, I mean, I thought it was, I thought the open was awesome. Yeah. I mean, I just thought they were... It was so well rehearsed, and I thought I didn't catch anything. I always try, like, I'm a theater major. I'm like, what did they do wrong? What did they, no, I thought it was good. Yeah.
I think the
Dakota,
same thing.
we were a part of that. What were your thoughts during the live performance?
Because they were saying, all right, guys, so Jessie J is going to come right through here. So I was already ready. I was, like, waiting for this to happen. And she, sure enough, in high heels, doesn't slip on the wet platform that she was getting up on.
She had to go up on.
And she just rocked it out. And then there was so much happening that it was kind of hard to keep up with that opening scene.
Yeah.
Because we were looking over here, and Jessie J was doing her thing. And then all of a sudden, we had to, like, turn over here, and then they were all going into the school. So it was kind of... that's why I wanted to know what you thought about it, because you saw it exactly how they want people to see it.
Right.
Through the
it didn't
cameras.
look chaotic, but there was a lot happening.
Right.
I did feel like,
There was. It happened so fast, and, our guy was like, cheer like you've never cheered before.
Yeah.
Like, we want 150% kind of yelling. He was like, you want to be the loud person who's like, who's this crazy DPN? Be that person.
Yeah.
So that's, like, how they, pumped us up, and, like, you really get into it. And where we were... in the scene, we had the greaser stand right in front of us.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so we were in that section to the... if you're looking on TV, it's the left side of the screen. So we were in the front row.
Yes, front row.
So maybe you might have picked us up.
Now I want to look back and be like, oh yeah.
They
just
took
know
some
we're
pictures.
standing right behind the greasers.
Okay.
Yeah,
the T-birds.
They took some pictures and they said they're going to post it later, but I'm really interested to see because it was at Warner Brothers made it so much better for me because I am such a huge fan of Warner Brothers, and I've toured there once before, but just seeing them, making Rosewood High from Pretty Little Liars, the Rydell High School was so cool because I'm like such a fan of Pretty Little Liars, and I know.
I mean, who isn't?
Yeah, you said you were too, right?
I know.
Yeah,
I love it.
So I died whenever I was like, oh my gosh, I'm standing right at the entrance of Rosewood High. But I think that they did a good job of making it Rydell. I was interested to see if they were gonna like leave a lot of things the same, but they put like different trees up, and
They changed the name of the school too to Rydell High School.
And they did an amazing job of like going into the school and making it a school because a lot of things are facades. At Warner Brothers it's a facade,
right?
And then they have a separate place on a soundstage that they shoot the different rooms. And I know that they did that a lot for this, but going into the school, it was still the school. So I liked how they made it like that, and they didn't just cut to like a different room of like a different random soundstage.
Right.
I like how they incorporated that and really made it the school.
Yeah.
And watching, you felt like you were in it. Too.
Yeah.
You felt like you were in the school watching it.
Yeah, and I liked how we always saw the Steadicam guy running right in front of us.
They must have had a workout today.
That guy needs a raise, man, because he was following everybody, and there was only one Steadicam, which was ridiculous.
Oh my God.
Well, like one from what we saw, but it was the same guy. Like, and we also he was standing right in front of us a lot. Like, I saw his notes, and it had like actual drawn arrows of like where he was standing. He has to go to the right, number one, and like all of his cues visually, like it's a dance for him.
Yeah.
So applause to the Steadicam operator.
Yes.
He did an amazing job. What do we think of the biggest one of the like second biggest really opening numbers was Summer 11. What do we think of the production aspect, putting it into a gym?
Well, that's what I was wondering. Was it? I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be outside. Was it? Do you guys? Okay.
No, I don't think so. I think it was always staged inside.
Okay, that's what I was curious about when I was watching it. I'm like, how much stuff that was supposed to be outside is now inside? But I guess it would be nighttime, like here in Los Angeles. I know.
I hear it right now. At first I thought it was crazy. I'm like, I hear music. What's happening?
You've had a long day.
I was like, it's in my brain, or is
summer
someone's phone
nights,
off?
you know?
Yeah. I thought it was good. I kind of wish that when you think of you think of the movie, there's so many more people. So I thought that it felt empty in the sense of choreography. I was like, I wanted to feel like there was more going on.
Yeah.
So that was my one sort of note, but I thought they did a nice job. I mean, I feel like when I watched it, I was so impressed with Julianne Hough's voice and like her singing in that scene. That was what really like took my eye in that.
I think the staging was fantastic because at the end we realized they were actually in the same room, but the way that they filmed it made it look like they were completely in different areas. And I was wondering,
feel that though. When I watched it, I felt like it looked like they were next to each other.
Oh, see, I didn't feel that because I felt like they were in one part of another area in like two different separate places. And I was just wondering how it was going to go with the timing of singing. Like, they got to go right after another. And then we find out they were actually in the same room. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I was like, that worked.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I don't think it took away anything whether it was outside or inside.
No. I don't think so.
I think it was... I liked it in the gym. I thought it was a fresh spin. I mean, obviously with these things, especially since it was raining, I'm sure that they had it planned in the gym anyway, but like I like how they, changed a few things because it keeps it interesting for the viewers as well. And they're otherwise, they'd be like, oh, we're going to watch the same movie that we watched all these years before.
Yeah. There was a line, because this was Fox and this was live, they had to like censor a few things because Grease... The original production is very risque.
Yes.
Some of the lines.
And I think I realized that more as I'm getting older. I'm like, how did my parents let me watch this when I was so young?
Yeah,
how did they get away with this so long ago?
For a movie is like for so long ago that it was taped, it really had so many sexual references.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't get that when I was a kid watching, but as I watched it yesterday, I was like, oh my gosh, like... These people are saying these things and making these gestures. I'm like, I don't know how they got away with it. And it's so funny to see that they changed a few things to make it cleaner now. On Fox's version of it than it was back.
It's very interesting.
Because we've had changed so much since then, and we're so free with everything these days.
Yeah,
it was interesting to see them edit it out a little bit and make it a little bit more friendly.
That actually is an interesting point.
Yeah.
At some points, it did take me out of it because I realized those are different lyrics, but I didn't mind it either. And I'm like, I know we keep referencing the movies, but like I think us three personally, like we had that more to reference to than the original writing and Broadway play.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you see always community theaters doing it. I've seen that like 3 or 4 times, but
and it's production. People always change like little details here and there. So I mean. Add decades of just different productions, like everything's slightly different.
Right.
I really enjoyed Summer Nights. Really fun song. What do we think of the pep rally? That was originally at nighttime, but they're during this is live production
and
whatnot,
and the bonfire?
This was in place of the bonfire was the cheerleading auditions. That was kind of like the mix of the bonfire pep rally.
Yeah.
I think it established Julianne Hough's character as Sandy, like I mentioned, just much differently. It gave her, because, in the movie she's not coordinated and she's not a good cheerleader, whereas Julianne, in the movie is, and it shows like a different, stronger side of her that she's, amazing. So, but watching it, it took me out of it in the sense that I'm like, wait, what just happened here?
Yeah.
Like, this is not, but
this was the bonfire.
Yeah, but I didn't, it didn't take me... I didn't hate it, I guess is the point. I thought it was an interesting thing that they added.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that I liked it just because, honestly, because they were right in front of us, so I didn't care that they changed it,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, cool, they're going to be out here again.
We were supposed to cheer. Like, oh, yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, so I thought probably they were just thinking, we probably can't make Julianne look like she's a bad dancer or cheerleader, so we might as well just make her good at it.
I was wondering if they were going to. Yeah, so that's interesting that they did that.
But yeah, I think it was funny because... isn't Patty, right?
Patty Simcox.
She was really funny to watch. Like when in between takes, she was just so
hysterical.
cute. And, nice. But it was so funny to watch like she's the one who the spotlight is usually on during this time. You know, she's the model cheerleader, the model student. So seeing people like pretend like, oh, I don't like her as much as Sandy was just really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that also is just another reason why like productions change little aspects to fit more of the cast members that they have.
And I like
Yes.
that. I really
Yeah.
do.
Well, like you were saying, in the movie, she doesn't have as many parts, and neither does Eugene. And Eugene, who's the nerdy character,
Eugene.
I
They
mean,
gave-
they added him in a lot more areas too. And I put in my notes when I was watching it, I was like, the guy who they cast in that, I'm like, oh my god, I love him. He's
He was
just
so
so
funny.
good.
Yeah.
I thought he was pretty flawless in that role. But Patty, I had some ups and downs, I think, with the character. I think because when you're live, like any musical theater, it looks very different than when you see it on camera. And she was very big on camera, which is okay, and that's the role. But so it was sometimes it felt a little forced watching it, a little too
theater?
much. Yes, a
Yeah.
little too. But I mean that is essentially what it is. But I think that's my only critique in that. But I did like that they added her character in a little bit more. I did like that.
And
Yeah.
I actually get that. I understand that because I know even when it was in between scenes, she was still had like this big face going. She was like making these nerdy, funny faces, and I did realize that too. I was kind of like, well, that's different, you know. In the other one, she's more reserved, which is not really her character at all because the original one she was very crazy too, but it made the original one look a little reserved after seeing the one tonight. But I thought she did a great job, and I thought that the whole cast really did.
Yeah. What do you think of Keke Palmer's number? Because I believe that was next. I don't recall Marty being such playing that big of a role.
Yeah, she
in-
didn't. Yeah, she didn't in the movie, and she wasn't as sassy, which is okay. I kind of like that she added that in. She had her but I think Keke added in a little bit more
of her flair.
Yeah.
and that's okay. I liked her in the role. I liked her. I think it is anytime you do change something up and you make it different, like we talk about. You know, Danny's hair wasn't as brown.
Yeah.
But so it does take you out. But I like. I mean, I liked her.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I love
What do
how
you
they
think?
added. I love how they added diversity to the Pink
Yes,
Ladies.
I do too.
Yeah.
You know, because
absolutely.
it's always been white girls, and so it was really nice to see that because it's like times are changing obviously, and I was just so thankful that they added her in. I love her. I think she's so funny. I love her on Scream Queens. I think she's an amazing actress, and so I was really excited to see her as part of the cast. I thought she did a great job, and that wig was something.
Yeah, I think I was very surprised by Kiki's singing ability because I've seen her more in her serious acting roles, but never really singing.
Yeah.
And like that girl has some serious pipes, and she can get really low too.
Yeah.
And like I thought she had a great, strong voice, especially for like her performance when she was in front of like imagining and performing in front of everyone. I love the wardrobe change.
Yes.
That was seamless. Oh my
Seamless.
goodness! Because when we were watching it, Dakota, you and I think I mentioned to you, I was like, when did that happen? Because it was so
I felt that way.
fast.
I was like, wait, oh my god, she's in a
like
red dress.
she's in a red dress.
They just zoomed in on her, like during the transitions,
Yeah.
they zoomed in on her face,
was
and then they
well
would zoom
done.
out.
Yeah.
And even the girls, like the other Pink Ladies, like they ran in their spots afterwards.
Yes.
I was like, this is the quickest change of quick change as ever.
And then she went from the red dress back to the green.
Yeah.
And I think during, in between scenes, like during commercial breaks,
Yeah.
they showed us. I'm not sure if the live viewers actually saw it.
They showed how they-
snippet.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. This is, I believe that she was actually wearing like 3 outfits all together. So it went from the blue to the red, and then underneath the red, you opened that up, and then went back to blue.
Yes.
So really, it was not
she
the
was, like,
same one. It was
3
like, yeah,
layers.
3
It was pretty
layers.
awesome. Well-
And you couldn't tell.
You could not tell.
No, and it was amazing. Like I said, I was like, wait, did I miss something?
It happened so fast. That was like the fastest wardrobe change
Yeah.
ever.
So then, did you guys like the slumber party scene then too, when they're singing?
I did. I thought it was very. I thought that for that part, they made it very traditional. Like the bedroom is set up the same, and they had like the window where it was, and they did the whole, I'm piercing your ear thing. Like,
Oh, yeah.
all of that. They made that was what really was nostalgic for me. I was like, oh, this is exactly how I
Yeah.
pictured it happening. This is exactly how it happened before, and I loved how they stayed true to that. Which leads us to the next number, right?
Look at me, I'm Sandra Dewey. What
Yes.
did you enjoy this by Vanessa Hudgens?
The
Yes.
look at me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, the wigs on.
Yeah. Oh, that's yeah. That's I think all
making
of them.
pretty
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
making fun of Sandy.
Yes. No, I was like, wait, I was thinking, when you're talking about her, I'm thinking of the group. Yes, the group
Okay,
in the
yeah,
bedroom.
yeah.
No, I liked it. I was hoping. Part of me was really hoping they weren't going to change that, and I really wanted it to be like just so nostalgic, and so that I liked it. I liked it. I felt like. I mean, Vanessa Hudgens did an amazing job doing that, and everybody else. I was trying to compare it to like, I'm like, did they miss something besides like that was in the movie? But I liked it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I personally had I enjoyed her performance. She has great singing. I think what me visually, I wanted more was like a little bit more close up
could
on
see that.
Vanessa, because it was mostly showing the whole room and all the girls,
Yeah.
which is fine because they're all singing that song, but I felt like it didn't really hone in on just how mean Rizzo was
Yeah.
being.
And
I agree with you.
I feel
That's
like,
a good point.
I feel like with the whole show and as a whole, they didn't have as many close-ups because they had to run around all these people. So that was a little weird for me. That's the only thing that I thought was a little off, was just because there was never any close-ups, and I love close-ups because it really shows the depth in the eyes of what this character is feeling.
Right.
So that was the only thing that I had that I was kind of like, oh, I wish they would have zoomed in a little more, like had like some more close-ups.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that would have made it better. Maybe that's what was missing for me. Because, like I
feel
said, I
like
feel
it.
like there was something seemed like it was missing. Maybe it was that.
Yeah, and I think I just wanted to see a little bit more of that because it felt like, we see Rizzo's last lines, like, some people are... What exactly did you say?
Oh my gosh.
Why am I
Like
blanking?
some people, it's something about taking something seriously.
Yeah, take things too seriously.
Okay, send us a tweet and tell us.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Send us a tweet and tell us
Oh
what
my
it
god,
is.
I don't know why I'm forgetting that. But like her last line,
Some people are too sensitive.
Yeah,
Or so sensitive.
yes.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like
something
that.
like that.
but it's like I felt that last line was a throwaway.
It was. I
was.
wanted a close-up of her saying
But
that.
that's
I
a
wanted
serious
her to-
line because
Yeah.
that's supposed to hit harder for a character. Like she's actually being really mean to you
Right.
right now,
Yeah.
and I didn't feel that. It's like
Yeah.
it
Some
didn't
people
make
can be
me
so sensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people can be so sensitive. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's it. I can't believe that we're blanking on that.
I don't know,
think
but
I
like
got
because Rizzo's supposed to be like you love to hate Rizzo, and that I was just like we still love her because you did a great performance, but I don't hate her character.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, you're right.
So okay, great song by Vanessa, of course. But then we have the T-Birds, of course, Grease Lightning.
I love that. That was so
Yes.
amazing how they transitioned from like the white car there. They put the camera away for a while and then like came back and it was the other car. That was so crazy.
Yes,
I have a critique.
You have a lot of
I'm so
Okay.
sorry.
See, I
And
didn't see
don't
anything wrong with it.
I did not want to have a critique on this. I mean, I love Grease Lightning, and I think maybe that's why I do. But I couldn't get past the like same choreography each time. It was like
yeah.
okay, I can't I get it, but like they did it over and over and over again, and like I mean the people who did the choreography are absolutely brilliant. But and so I hate to like critique it, but like as a viewer, I'm like stop doing the same thing. Like just stop doing the same thing over and over again, and that was one thing that I didn't like, and I didn't like that Aaron had to do these like really harsh, sharp things as he's singing. He did a very good job doing it, but I felt like it took away from like what the song could have been. Like I felt like I didn't get his voice as much as I would have liked, and I kind of wanted him to have a stronger. And I like how do I say that about Aaron, because he has the amazing voice. But I wanted more of him and more of that, and maybe it's a close up thing too. Like maybe I didn't get enough of him in that, and I wanted more of that.
I feel like that was the one thing missing.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
But yeah, I'm sorry. Oh gosh, don't hate me.
I do have a question. In the movie, was there girls that come into that scene?
No,
or was
there
that
I was
wasn't.
trying to remember that too.
Because
Yeah,
I really
it
thought
wasn't.
that was weird,
Yeah.
because I was like, where did these ladies come from? And then I think there was like a random girl who was dancing on Danny,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
dude,
I'm like-
what about Sandy?
No, no,
No. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
That
agree
was
with you.
I didn't like the addition of the ladies, because it's such like a song like where these guys are like
Yeah.
really roughing and toughing it, and then to add the ladies in there, I was kind of like, who are these random ladies?
Exactly. I agree with both of you. First, Maria, your point on doing the same moves. I noticed that too, and I pointed it out. I was like, they have a dance move. They slightly changed it up from the go grease lightning, pointing, and
Yeah.
then like
Yeah.
arm pump, whatever. Like they changed that, which was fine. But like the move that they changed wasn't as memorable as that was.
No.
And they did it over and over again. I didn't really like that. The girls' incorporation, it was fun to like have as a dance performance, but I think like I don't know why they threw girls in there. Maybe they didn't believe that the guys themselves were strong enough to dance on their own.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe I'm just throwing that out there. That could have been a possibility. I don't think we needed girls in there
Or maybe
because
they were just adding
it didn't
it
add to the story.
Yeah, it didn't.
And also,
If anything, it took away.
and also to your point, like what happened to Sandy, like knowing, but
Yeah, who is this girl you're getting all
in
about?
the original,
Who's
in
she?
the original lineup,
Come
we
on
actually
now.
had "Hopelessly Devoted to You" by Sandy in
Yes.
front of it, and they put that number in a different spot in the live.
Did you guys like it better that way or no? Because I did personally.
I did too.
Because I
Did
think
you?
the song made more sense there because she knew him better. She had more of a relationship with him. Because like originally when she sang this, it was kind of at this awkward spot. And so when I was watching it yesterday, the movie, I was kind of like, why is this song here? Like, it's kind of weird. Why are you so devoted to a guy that you really don't even really know yet?
Okay.
So I liked how they placed it. I think they placed it, in my opinion, where it should be.
I think that's a really good point. Like they put it later when the relationship has developed a little bit
Right.
more,
Right.
and now she's also questioning whether she should still remain Sandy or be this, the hot chick at the end.
Yeah.
I think it could have worked either way. Honestly, if they would have kept it there, but I remember thinking that I was like, wait, wasn't
there's another number
and
before
so,
this.
And so I actually thought they had cut it, but I remember reading that about her, performance, and that was going to be so great and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So I was like, wait. And then when they actually did that, I was watching it with somebody else, and they were like, they added it in later. They were like mad about it. But I guess I could understand both ways, but I know. But yeah, I guess I could have gone either way on that.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? I'm glad that even though they moved the order,
Yeah.
it was still there.
Yes. I mean, how
So,
do you
like,
Grease without
instead of, like,
hopelessly devoted?
completely taking
And
it
by the
out.
way, I wanted to cry when I was watching it. I was like, she did so amazing and
So much
hopelessly. I know we're kind of
emotion
going
to it.
out of
So it
like
was-
but
yeah,
I
out
just
of
thought she
order.
was amazing.
And one more thing, because we are talking about that, because Julianne helped perform the outside. We were the outside crowd. So the cheering that you hear, that was from us.
Yeah, there was a few times when they did scenes
Yeah.
right next to where we
Right
were.
next to us.
They'd have us just crazy clap and cheer, so that way they have a little bit of applause that went in like for the
That
audio.
was like
Okay.
So
underneath.
sometimes we were just like screaming so loud and nothing. We couldn't see anything.
Yeah, even though like they weren't physically in front of us,
Okay.
we still had to cheer so they could pick up our audio for like
Got
their
it.
end of that scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is actually really cool. It's like it's nice, quick, cheap way of being like, here's a little audio track
Yeah.
from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so,
So-
just for everyone watching, you guys were able to see playback though when you were.
Always.
Yeah.
So where
Yeah,
you're
they
saying
had
so they were
monitors
able
right
to
in front
see,
of
like when they weren't in certain other areas, they were able to see like what everyone saw at home too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but then you got to see the really cool stuff. What's up?
Yes.
That's so awesome.
Yes. And it was really nice because the audience coordinators were like, guys, you are not watching the show. You are enrolled
You're in
in
it.
You are
Rydell
in
High.
the
And they
show.
even okay, this is an actual prop. This is an actual prop from tonight. This is the scarf that they gave me. And they said we could keep it afterwards. So sad because
The
you
red
had
scarf.
one.
Yes.
Oh.
all right.
Who was wearing the scarf?
For those who are listening, because it was so cold outside,
Yeah.
I think
okay.
I think the production did like a last minute change, and they're like, let's give these poor people who are waiting outside the whole time blankets and like warm things. And Rydell School's like red
Red.
colors.
Yeah.
So they're like, we're gonna have as much red as possible. So people had blankets, scarves, and hoodies.
And hoodies.
I had a scarf, but apparently we had too much red in our row that they had to like break it up a little bit, and they took my scarf.
They're like, they took her scarf away, and they're
did.
like, you know what? Let's give her a sweatshirt. You were about to get this amazingly
I was
thick,
about to get an
beautiful
actual sweatshirt
I
hoodie.
want a sweatshirt.
I know.
And
I
I
was
didn't get
excited for
anything.
those.
I know.
I didn't get anything. So I was one of those poor people who didn't have literally anything to keep me warm. But I was there.
You had
no.
Dakota.
No, yeah,
We were literally like
right-
this.
We
We were
were
like-
like huddling
Yeah.
the whole time. But like, again, I got to experience something that
very cool.
not a lot
So
of
many
people
people
did.
would want to
So like,
experience.
as
Oh, yeah,
cold
once a lifetime.
as cold as it was still fun to be a part of.
It was.
But yes, props to you for getting a red scarf. So and
She's not
I'm
jealous
gonna
at
go home and
all.
cry. I wish I had that.
When they took hers away, I was like, come on.
Yeah, because
on.
they said they're like, give her a hoodie, and I never got one.
Yeah.
So, but moving on.
I digress.
Yeah, moving on. Beauty school dropout. I have a lot to say about
You
that.
have
Okay,
a
you
ton
go
to say about
first.
that.
I'm interested.
First of all, Beauty School Dropout is my favorite musical number of Grease. I don't know. It's so stupid simple. And Frankie, who originally sang it in the film, he's great. And I watched it so many times, just this musical, because like it's a simple song. It's catchy. It's repetitive. I love it. I always remember it. And every time I watch it, I was like, there's no one else who could perform the song better than Frankie. And I'm like, okay, nope, I changed that because I love Boyz II Men.
I love Boyz II Men.
I love Boyz II Men. I literally listen to Boyz II Men like every week because 90s R&B is my shit.
It was so funny to watch you though.
I've karaoke'd Boyz II Men. I kid you not. And to have the three guys,
You are
like,
so funny.
how much do I want to be Carly Rae Jepsen right now? Because they're serenading her
Yes.
to Beauty School Dropout. I was like, oh my god, Boyz II Men are here. They're singing.
We were like so cold, and that was the moment where she forgot all of her problems, and the whole time she was like singing along and like
yes.
so excited, like oh my gosh, I wish I was Carly Rae right now.
Oh my god, no, it's ridiculous how much I love Boyz II Men.
I thought I was actually wondering how that was going to happen because so prior to that, Carly Rae Jepsen is singing her solo, and we were just like, which is a solo that
skip Carly because I was so excited about
forget
Boyz.
that.
Yeah,
I was
But
so
you
excited about
mentioned
Boyz.
they put this in for her kind of because, like we said, Frenchie doesn't have any
Musical
big
numbers,
musical
yeah.
numbers.
Did you like
and
it?
So
Be honest.
it's not
Yes.
that I didn't like.
What was it?
her.
I Need an Angel or something?
Yeah,
an Angel?
I think it goes back to just because we're so used to the original movie, and I think maybe if they didn't have that, because I was sitting there waiting, I was like, they better not have cut Beauty School Dropout, and I knew they didn't because I had heard something about the props of like the rollers, like the metal rollers that they wear, that they were going to be there, and that it was like they're keeping that traditional look, which I think is awesome. I thought that the costumes for that scene were amazing.
See, I knew Boyz II Men were going to sing the song. I was like, yep, all
so
about it.
That's why I was like, wait, what's happening? So I think that's why it just removed me a little bit. But I thought it was good. I thought it was a little long. It felt like long to me.
I felt like it was like a song and then another song.
Yes.
It was slow.
Yes. But
it was a slow song.
The transition between the two, where like the thing rolled around to show Boyz II Men, and then like the curtain went behind. That was so well done and seamless. Like it was so just like one piece, one fluid motion. And I was like, how did they do that? That was just like so exciting to me to watch that
musical
happen.
theater perfection.
Yes.
The stage
I'm so
management
glad you're, like,
was
a
amazing.
theater geek because I got my start doing like theater, and like I was actually on the off-Broadway production of Peter Pan for 8 months.
Were you Peter?
I was not. Kathy Rigby was Peter Pan. But I was John Darling, and just getting to see that whole
John.
world for 8 months was just like
That's
so
very cool.
incredible. So every time I get to be a part of something like this, just makes me so excited. It brings me back to the good old days.
I mean, there's nothing like live theater. There really isn't.
There
So
isn't.
And I love live because everything's slightly different every single
Yeah,
time.
every
seriously.
time.
And you always get like something new out of
Yes.
every performance.
But I was happy with Boyz II Men.
Yeah.
Not as happy as you. But I thought Beauty School
ecstatic,
Dropout.
you guys.
I thought they did justice to Beauty School Dropout.
Yeah.
That's
really,
I think
really
what
well.
ultimately we all want as an audience is like just do it justice, and I thought they surpassed my expectations.
Yeah. And you know what? I think they did great. It was because it was three guys compared to one guy. And I think they really balanced out the verses perfectly for each that was within the range, and just like
And
they were
added
in it,
the
too.
soul. They added
Yeah.
the soul in the runs, you know. And when he hit that run, I was like, oh Lord, Jesus is alive and well, right here tonight at Warner Brothers Studio.
That just made my night just so much better. Just
I'm
that.
glad. Thank you. It was exciting.
I just want to keep talking about Boyz II Men, but we can't. We have to move on. What was the next musical? Because I can't even think.
I know.
the
I'm trying
song.
to think.
Oh.
After Beauty School Dropout.
Well, actually, because just in the production aspect, after Beauty School Dropout, it goes to a lot of just dialogue and dancing for a good 20 to 30 minutes. So there really isn't a musical number for a while.
Yeah.
So we get into the dancing aspect, which was lucky for the audience who was in the nice warm gym the whole time.
They got like the majority of
They got
the
like
stuff
all
that
the
happened.
actual dancing and singing
Right.
performances
And like a lot
right
of the
in
little
front of them.
scenes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a lot of the choreographing and the Steadicam movement, like because there was camera shots like moving all around that gym. They used that space so perfectly. And we see Danny Zuko like trying out for different sports.
Yes. Oh, and that is, I'm so glad you said that. This was probably one of my, I want to, Jordan Fisher, who was playing the guitar.
Yes.
I love you. I love you. Like he completely captured my heart, and he totally stole that scene, and like from then on, my eyes kept going to him in like the rest of the show. I'm like, he was so good in that role and so good for that song. That song was obviously added in, and I thought it was so very much needed. I was like, why didn't they put that in the movie? Like that should have been in the movie.
I felt like it was in the movie.
Not
because
like
I feel like it was, but
What was the song called?
I didn't see.
I want to say that was the song that in the movie that Sandy puts the music, the money into the jukebox, and that was the song
But I
that
mean,
was
there's
playing.
no one like playing the actual thing where he's
but they
playing
have
the
like the
guitar and, like, having
the live acoustic version. I thought it was great because his voice was phenomenal. I could listen to his voice all day, and I loved how they broke up his songs to help with the transitions of moving around literally the gym and different Danny going into the next sport. It was so flawless.
That was hands down, surprisingly, like one of my favorite parts of the entire thing, because it was new but interesting, and I thought it was captivating the way they moved, the way like you said that they did, and they kept it moving. So it was kind of like you saw those different, I'm like, how are they going to do that? And by the way, we just need to retouch on Aaron and his workout shorts. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
There are people all over Twitter that going crazy. So at the end, they sing together. And like Twitter went crazy at that point. They're like, oh my God, they're singing together. It's amazing. And so at the end, the way that the camera kind of goes around Aaron, he has, I should call him Danny, but he's Aaron and I love him. And so anyways, he has his mic pack on his back. And everybody on Twitter is like, why is there a mic pack where it shouldn't be? Because they wanted it to be a little bit more of a fitted look in a certain area of his back.
Flag, you guys.
Like, where else are they going to put his mic pack?
Do you want to hear him?
Like, otherwise he'll have a
has
weird
to wear
growth on his back or somewhere.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Quick,
so anyways.
Was the song called Those Magic Changes?
Maybe.
It could have been.
How about you sing a few bars?
It could have been.
We're like, maybe.
We literally came straight from the production, you guys. So
This is embarrassing.
The chat is saying that the song was Those Magic Changes, which was in the original show, not in the movie.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't think
They played a couple
so.
of the songs that were in the musical, recorded them for the movie that were played by bands and jukeboxes in the background.
Okay.
This
Yes!
was the case for one of them.
Okay.
Jukeboxes. That's what I was
I'm
like.
trying to
I
see our
swear
Twitter
it came from the
chat.
jukebox.
I'm trying to see our Twitter
But thank
chat.
you, everyone. Thank you
it.
for helping us out. You guys are amazing in the live chat.
Yes.
That's through
yes.
YouTube, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
let me
It is
see.
a great song.
Okay.
They sang it perfectly. They transitioned it perfectly. Audio transitions, however, were not so perfect. We had I'm not sure for the live viewing audience, but for us when we were watching it play, especially in Frosty's Diner, there were some scenes where we couldn't even hear the actors speaking. Although we know they're saying dialogue, we couldn't hear
I was
it.
really hoping that it was like a block out of like 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, it was a good
just
solid chunk.
silence, and I was like, oh no, like this is not good. This is happening live.
And it was right out of a commercial too. Like they went right into Frosty's.
It was fuzzy, at least where I was watching. And let us know if it was the same for you guys. But like, yeah, it was for Julianne Hough, like it was like fuzzy, and I thought it was just where I was, but.
And then also,
let's
like,
see.
there was a time when they were, like, going out into a commercial break and Mario Lopez was talking, and there was a time where he was cut off. Like, we couldn't hear him either. Was that live? Or, like, was that, like, could you hear him when he was saying that, or was that cut off as well?
No, we could hear him.
Okay.
Okay.
So
We
it
could
must
hear
have
him.
just
Sorry,
been
I'm
us.
trying to
it must have
find
been
I'm looking
on
for
our
our
side.
chat.
We
So
looked at
couldn't
each other
hear
and we
it.
were
We're
like, someone's getting fired.
Yeah, we're like,
Like,
someone's getting yelled at right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm trying to. I want to see our chat. So
So-
that's what I'm looking for. Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
that's
no.
all good.
I'm glad it wasn't as bad as we thought it was. Again, we were live, so a lot of the differences between your viewing experience compared to ours.
Yeah.
So we go from the dancing. There was so much dancing in this. It was great. And I loved how they just established and, again, used that gym for the whole hand jive.
Yeah.
And the actual dance-off.
Yes.
what do we think of, first of all, there was that shot where they're going from like couple to couple, like all, and they had their like 2 lines, but I thought that was like so smooth.
It was.
How they went from person to person.
I was happy with how the gym worked. I mean, when they did, I was curious because, like I said, in for Summer Nights, when there wasn't, I wanted more people there, and I wanted like the energy and like to feel like I'm like at a school, and they did that in the gym for me. Like when I, as an audience, like watching it, I was like, okay, this is what I wanted. It felt busy, it felt packed, and it like the energy was good. And when I'm watching, Rizzo dancing and I'm watching Frenchie dancing, like they kept a lot of that original, like certain moves that they were doing. So I thought that was kind of cool to see
One
too.
of them was super risque.
Super risque.
yeah,
It was like, they're showing
and
this
I-
on
with
TV
Rizzo,
right now.
and, but they do that similar in the movie, not
gosh.
as
You
as
and I
much.
looked at each other and
But
were
we're
like,
like-
is that a thing? Like,
Are they going to censor
what
that
kind
right
of
now?
dance move is that? Because, no.
No.
Yeah, they didn't censor that one. I
Yeah.
know which one you're
What
talking
did you
Yeah.
think of, Joe Jonas, his band DNCE, they were the ones who, were the grand, was it the American Bandstand? Or
Yeah, the
American
bandstand.
Being
Did
a
you enjoy
fan,
Joe Jonas?
Yeah, for being a fan of like the Jonas Brothers and being a fan of DNCE, I thought that was really cool. I thought Joe, for some reason, I thought he was going to be one of like the T-Birds or something like that. And so when I was like, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? And then I'm like, oh, there he is.
Oh, okay.
And I want to say it was very impressive that he had so many songs in a row. Like I was thinking, everyone gets their one song. I felt like Joe got way more like song time than Carly Rae did. Like
True.
Joe had
Very
like these
true.
3 songs, but I thought he did very, very well. And I love that they incorporated that into it.
And you also have to remember, just the dance sequence in and of itself, it takes a long time.
Yes.
So, and if you're going to have one performer, he's going to be there for the full 20 minutes.
Yeah.
True.
And I like the break in between because, like, his voice, he already has a great voice. But it really felt like the 50s when he was
Yeah.
singing. I was like, this is a voice you could hear back then.
Yeah. I
And-
was like, go Joe.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
when they like didn't have the camera on him, they had him on other people. I kind of forgot that was him. It's because it sounded so like almost like someone else. But I actually was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you pleasantly surprised with Mario being the host? Being Fontaine.
So I like Mario Lopez. I didn't know. I felt he felt a little stiff to me in the role. I think that was my only critique, I guess. I think he was the right person, definitely, but it just felt a little stiff in the role.
Yeah, I didn't know that he was going to be that role, but since he is like a host
Yeah.
and he does that all the time, like I get that they casted him as that, and I thought he always does a good job of delivering, and like he didn't stumble at all. He did a good job, but I thought for that character, after seeing what they originally do with the plays and the movie, I was looking for maybe a different type of person, someone who looked a little older, who could have done that. I didn't think they did a bad job casting him. I thought he did a great job, but it was just different for me. I was like, oh, okay, he's that role.
Yeah, I think it took me out of it for a moment because we first see Mario during the production. He's actually hosting the live Grease Live event. So we see him as one personality.
Yes.
And then he immediately goes from host to a character in the show. You had to take a second to like realize,
took me
now
a
he's actually Fontaine.
Yeah,
So-
they should have probably kept that separate because
Yeah.
that was confusing because I'm like, oh, well, Mario Lopez is back in the
I was like,
old times.
Because
Yeah.
they did that mirror shot where like, okay, is that, just him introducing the show again? But
Yeah.
no, he was actually in character.
I
at
did
that
like
point.
how they made the screen like black and white whenever it was like
Yes.
supposedly
Yes, the
live thing.
telecast.
That was genius. I love that touch. And it was so weird though because I was like, it was black and white, and then there was Joe Jonas in the background. I'm like, this is so crazy.
There it is.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought that was a great.
I thought that
touch.
was a great touch too. I'm
Yeah.
glad they kept that because they do that in the film.
In the film.
Yeah.
I really like that. And also, props to Mario for actually getting the rhyming, speech
Yeah.
down. I was like, wow, he nailed that.
That
I
was-
actually forgot about that part in the movie, and then he did it. I'm like, oh yeah, I like that.
That
part.
was crazy. I was like, that was a tongue twister.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a tongue twister.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah, live, for it being live too. Like I'm sure there was
Yes.
a lot of stress on him for that
Yeah.
little speech.
Yeah,
So
'cause-
he did do good in both roles
Yeah.
that he was.
Yeah, but
throughout
I agree with you.
production.
I just don't think it was right to transition him.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it
Like
should
give
have
him
been
one
one
thing
or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're right at the same page.
Oh my gosh. We did a Snapchat earlier and we said the exact same thing at the exact same time.
Yeah. the
In
same
unison,
wavelength.
yes.
Yes.
I mean, it would be also. There's nothing wrong with casting another person to be Fontaine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So otherwise, he did a great job in both.
I have a little interjection. I think it would have been freaking funny if John Travolta would have played
It would have
that
been
role.
amazing.
Oh my goodness.
That would have been
My
so
brain
cool.
would have exploded. But I did see an interview with him prior to this that they were like, "Are you going to watch it?" He's like, "I'll watch it at some point." I'm like, "Come on, dude."
It's like show some love to
Yeah.
like what
What
helped
really
build your
helped build you.
career.
Yeah, you should just say yes. Like,
Yeah, just lie if you have
Yes.
to, but like,
I mean, these are. I don't know.
it really made him.
Or at least say something
Yes.
like,
I can't wait
like,
to see it.
I'll eventually watch it, but like, good luck to the whole cast, break a leg, like him actually showing support for like the next generation
Yeah.
of the Grease people.
Yeah,
'Cause I
his
don't know
wife
about
did
you.
though. At the end of the interview,
Really?
she's like, "We're excited." I was like, "You're cute."
I love
But
Kelly
yeah.
Preston.
Kelly Preston. She's
Kelly
like
Preston,
trying to like
she's
hold
amazing.
up for her husband.
Oh my gosh, she's beautiful.
Yes, she is.
Yeah,
And so, Born to Hand Jive, did you enjoy this?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I felt that they kept it very old school, and I mean, I thought the gym stuff was so well done. I really do.
The
They
gym was
utilized
amazing.
that space so well.
They did. That took up a whole soundstage.
Yeah.
But can I tell you my critique about the one thing that I wasn't super happy with was Cha Cha. Did you guys see who played? Like, I tried to do a little bit of research.
I felt
on
she
her.
felt in the background.
She didn't. She was supposed to be an amazing dancer, and she didn't do any amazing dancing. And I didn't feel that her. And I don't want to, say anything bad about the girl who did the role, but it didn't. The role itself didn't jump out at me like it does in the movie, where she's like very sassy and she like really like so believable as like this.
I
think it was the dancing that did that.
I felt like they casted her as the look, because for me, I was like, oh my gosh, is this like the girl who played it? Because maybe
did
she
look
just
like
never
her.
aged, because she looked great. I mean, she looked the part, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
She didn't have the body of like the emotion of the part though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt she was just another dancer. And then the whole dance off when it was supposed to be Danny and Cha-Cha who wins, I was like, oh, they just ended up together.
Did you see
at
the
end.
the-
It didn't feel a win.
Did
Yeah.
you see you and I talked about it, the weird camera angle where they were dancing and then they like showed the side of the gym for a second and then they regained their composure and put the camera back? Did you see that part?
I don't know. I feel like there are certain times that happens like
There was-
throughout the thing.
I
So I
felt
can't think
like-
of one in particular.
Yeah,
but
there was one.
During the moment, during the hand jive moment, it felt like there was really quickly a camera. It felt like maybe got knocked out of place, and they saw it and like it literally got
weird,
discombobulated, and then they cut away from it.
And
So
I feel like-
production, everyone.
Yeah. For that moment, that was the moment where watching the movie and seeing the play so many times, I noticed the part where she kind of gets upset and leaves, and and Danny goes to dance with Cha-Cha. But I think during that moment, it kind of got discombobulated to where that moment was lost for me. And then all of a
Okay.
sudden, I saw Danny with Cha-Cha, and I was like, I knew what was happening. But if someone watched it for like the first time, which most of you who are watching obviously have probably seen the original, they probably might not have picked up on what was happening in that brief exchange just because of that little mishap.
what I saw, I did see her.
Okay.
Yeah, we did. I mean, I saw Julianne and her upset and run off.
Okay. Did you?
Okay. No.
Okay,
See, I
so we
didn't
did
either.
see
So
that.
we
That was
Okay.
right in
Yeah.
that weird camera angle spot.
I
Okay,
think
maybe
that's
that
what we
was-
saw
Yeah.
live during that, and you guys might have
We
seen
did.
something
I
else.
saw Julianne and that. Like
Okay.
so then maybe that was the difference. But
Okay,
yeah, I
cool.
mean that's what I saw.
I'm
I
glad
did.
that they got it
Okay.
right. Yeah, because for us, we were like,
Okay.
what
That's
is
why I'm like,
happening?
I don't think I saw anything like that. I mean, there are certain parts where in the gym they're filming this way and you could see a camera, but because there was supposed to be a camera in they were videotaping a live show
Yeah.
for the live show. So that's why with that note, I loved the sort of like underlying parts that they added in where like, oh yeah, it's a live show or it's a live thing. Anything could happen, but they're talking about the live
Yeah.
show in the live.
Yeah.
So there's certain like
It
things
could
that
rain.
yeah,
and we're
that.
like, I think they threw in that line just for
So-
today.
Yeah,
Yes.
so there was a few things like that happened that I was like, that's funny.
I feel like
Yeah,
the
El
rain
Nino,
part,
you
yeah,
guys.
the rain part. I felt like most people who don't live in LA may have not understood that little jab or reference. But guys, it was raining so
It was
hard.
pouring.
Yeah.
Well, there is a number in the original musical called "It's Raining on Prom Night" that Sandy sings along with the radio.
Okay.
Yeah.
in the original play,
In
It's
the play,
raining.
yes.
musical,
Yeah.
but not the movie, right?
No.
It's Sandy in the radio, right?
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
That's correct.
That's correct.
But like I feel like that one line was like thrown just for us audience
loved it.
members.
Oh,
It's
yes.
just like we're literally outside in the rain.
like we were like, yeah, we get what you're saying.
They gave us ponchos, you guys.
Yeah. It's funny.
They did give you.
Yes.
And you guys still had the bands on to prove that you were there.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
do.
these are the
Green.
little,
Number 175. Actually,
Yes.
we got there so early in the morning. We were number 4 and 5.
fourth in line, and we ended up
Oh,
getting.
but
Out
what's
of,
your
like-
number?
Oh, on our wristbands, it really doesn't matter.
And you know,
but we
okay,
were number
okay.
4 and 5.
We
That's how
really-
early
That's all
we
that
were.
matters. Okay.
Yeah.
we really should have gotten like a better spot,
We-
maybe in
we
the
should.
gym or something.
Maybe in the heat, in the warmth.
The
Yeah.
people who just showed up last minute were the ones that ended up getting the better seats, and I don't know how
Yeah.
that works out, but
Aw.
Such is life.
It
but
was still
we were
amazing.
there.
It's a
We
good
had
story.
fun. We saw the live performance. Okay, moving on.
yeah. Sorry.
The drive-in movies. And we got a lot of the cast members. I felt like this was the same beat for beat how they usually portray it in the films and production. And I really enjoyed it because it was like fast-paced dialogue. You go from one person to the next. And I really liked how they executed it.
That was very cool. I'm sure they had like we saw as he was running through one time, he had the camera strapped to him. Yeah, the Steadicam.
Yeah.
It was crazy because that was a big soundstage, and you went from the cars in the windows through like over by the snack area, and it was just so crazy.
As a viewer, I mean, I don't know. That was the scene to me that I felt like they stayed pretty true to
Yeah.
the movie. It's difficult visually to do the exact same thing because of the space that you're using.
Right.
When you're doing it live and like as a set instead of like a movie set or a stage versus a set. That to me, I was happy with. I thought that I liked Julianne Hough saying like about his sin wagon and like
Yes,
all that. So
right.
they kept
Different
it very
word.
yeah. What is it different than the movie?
And in the original, it's Pussy Wagon.
Oh yeah.
They say that in the movie. Really?
And they changed it to Sin Wagon.
Why did I think? Are you sure?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
named off like 5 things that were
Yeah, there was a
different.
lot. There was a lot of
And-
different words that they changed.
I
to make
thought
it more
she called
friendly.
it sin wagon in the movie.
Nope, it was.
Okay.
There's a lyric where they say Pussy Wagon.
That's
I
in the Grease Lightning song.
yes.
Yeah.
Grease
Speaking
Lightning.
of, does that
But
word just make you want to cringe? Because I hate
Kind
that
of.
word.
Yes,
no,
I don't
it
like
is a
it.
terrible
Ooh,
word.
like-
I'm
I
actually
think
glad
it
that
was-
they changed it.
Yes, I thought it was sin wagon though in the actual in her line because
Yeah,
she
in the
wouldn't
lyric,
have said
Grease Lightning
Yes.
lyrics, they changed that word.
But no, I thought, and I like Vanessa in that scene too. I think she executes it
Oh,
perfectly.
I loved it, and I loved how like it went from person to person, like whispering,
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
of a sudden
Because
they're
I'm
like, "Oh,
pregnant."
are you knocked up?
Yep.
Are you pregnant?" And she's like, "Oh, word travels around fast." That was my favorite part of that scene because it was just so seamless.
Yeah.
yeah. I loved it because, in the film they executed so flawlessly, and in this it was like, yep, just like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
I did love that. And then we also, we get Sandy, from, of course, Danny. What do we think of this and how they lit it and what it looked like from after their little tiff in the car?
Oh, what did we think
With
of his
Sandy
number,
and
or
Danny,
like when-
his number more so. What do you think of his performance?
I thought that he did a very great job. Reversing a little bit, I think that I did like the car scene where he was like trying to take the ring off, and they did
Yeah.
all that just
Grease.
like
Yeah.
Add
that
more
was so
grease.
cool. I loved all that. And after she runs off, I think it was cool how he utilized the space. And at the very end, after the end of the song, he delivered this powerful song. And then at the very end in the back, you can see
Say the end.
The end.
That was just so cool to me. I love that
Yes.
now as we remake this classic in a new era, that we're allowed to add these cool little things and have all these technical. I don't even know what I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
All these technical things that we can just add in to make it even more flawless.
Just to enhance it more so.
Enhancing it,
Enhance it,
yeah,
really. That's
it
the
was
word I'm
the-
looking for.
Those like underlying things that like mean something.
Yes.
I thought it was very
Thank you
cool.
for saying it more gracefully than I.
It's okay. That's what I'm here for.
That's right.
Yeah, I think Aaron's performance was
thought he
like
did good.
his voice was perfect during this.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
why
Yes.
why. We're not gonna
We're
sing the whole
remaking
song.
it.
I will
Right
not
now.
sing
But
for you.
it
I'm
was
sorry.
so good. No, it was
just
so
did,
good
but I won't
that
do it again.
our whole audience was singing out
Yes.
along with it. It was so good.
We were singing here, but I don't think anybody wanted to
You
listen
were
to me.
probably.
Well, I was, and some of my friends sitting by me were
Okay.
singing, but I wasn't
We
the
were
only
singing.
one. Yes.
Yeah.
It's hard not to. I was sitting there, like, you know, before, like, everything was starting, and I was like, I wonder if everyone's going to be as into it as I am. And, like, they were. I was
That's
so,
good.
I mean, how can you listen to these and not be? I mean, seriously.
And they made it a 3-hour ordeal.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Oh, yes, it was.
I don't know. I mean, how long they usually make the play, depending on like the community theaters that do it, and then like on Broadway. But like for
Yeah.
the movie, at least, I watched it yesterday, and it was like 1 hour and
50 minutes.
40 minutes, 50 minutes.
50 minutes, guys.
So I'm like, where did they come
An hour
up
and
with
50
this
minutes.
extra, like,
Well,
hour
also-
and 10 minutes?
Commercials.
Like,
Yeah,
But-
well, also for live production, you have commercials and then like a little bit more dialogue here and there.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it though because the great thing about Grease is so fast paced.
Yeah.
Like there's really
Yes.
not one scene that's like too slow and loses your attention. It really for a film back in and like the story back in that time and even to today, you can still really follow along easily and appreciate everything that's going on.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. There are worse things we can do. Rizzo, what do you think of this? Is this a redeeming moment for Rizzo? Did you buy Vanessa Hudgens' performance?
Oh, are you talking about the one where like she's walking through the school hallways
Yeah.
and like I loved that. I thought that was very well done. That's another thing that I actually liked better tonight than in the original movie.
Me too.
I've seen it done also, you know, in the plays and stuff like that, and I think that they do an amazing job. But I loved what she brought to it, and now knowing that her father had just passed away a few hours before, just brought so much more, like, props to her for being able to pull off such an amazing song so gracefully with her beautiful voice, and I loved it. I really did. That was probably my favorite song of the night.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was definitely one of my favorite moments, and one, yes, because of how I don't know how she kept it together in that those moments. I mean, that's so professional, and she was so. And I'm gonna say kind of a bold statement, but I kind of like her almost better than the original as well. Like this,
Yes.
that for me, and maybe it's just because I really
Stockard Channing's performance
yes
in the movie. Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
and so
See, I love Stockard Channing.
I know.
It's
How can you not? She's
plays
an
a really great Rizzo.
But I think it's just because I don't know. I like Vanessa just because I always liked her. I'm like, oh, she's good, she's talented. But when I watched her in this, I'm like, I really appreciated her as an artist, and I thought she just I just have so much respect for her. I just feel like after seeing this, I just thought she just did amazing.
Yeah, and during this, because Vanessa walked right in front of us literally before, because there was a commercial break.
Okay.
She walked in front of us before to go into the school set to sing that, and then immediately afterwards she walked out.
And everyone
like,
just
we
stood
saw
up
her
and
before
applause.
and after that performance. Yeah, we did.
She was a foot away from me, and I was just like,
She was literally right in front of us, you guys.
Oh, it was
like
amazing.
I could have reached out and touched her.
Wow.
Not that I would
I
have.
didn't, but
But-
I could
I
have.
thought about it.
She was that
Not gonna
close
lie.
to us, and like by having, because before she walked in, she's like, applause everyone, like she was in such a happy state, and then she sings such a heartfelt song, and then afterwards she was like still happy, and it's just amazing composure and
Yes.
pulling through. The show must go on, and it went on.
Yeah,
And she dedicated her performance to her father, which is wonderful as well, too.
sweet.
Yeah, very
Very
sweet.
sweet. And then of course we had the whole Thunder Road, the major Thunder Road scene.
Okay.
What do we think of the production aspect of how they filmed it, the lighting? I mean, it is hard to have an actual car race in a soundstage. So, what did you think of the way they executed what is arguably one of the most memorable scenes in Grease?
I did think that they did good job with what they were given. I know that the whole ordeal of this show is that it's supposed to be live and everything is live and this and that. I feel like what they should have done is said it's all live except, wait, this scene. I think that they should have probably filmed it with stuntmen, like maybe beforehand, and maybe had this big, exciting car race happening, because that is like such a pivotal point in the storyline. And for me and a lot of the audience members outside who were watching were giggling, laughing at this because of, they were so into it, but it was just it was lacking.
It was laughable.
It was
It
laughable.
was awkward. Like, you
Yeah.
kind of just felt awkward. And I kind of felt bad that the guys are like, okay, now I got to drive. And
Yeah.
then, like, they did the best that they could. I don't know how else they would have done that besides like what you said, pre-filming it.
Or even if
point.
like
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's shooting at night. Like I don't know how else you would have done it.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other thing, if they would have pre-taped that portion, I mean, I guess they could have had a live thing of stuntmen doing something on the back lot, like quick.
Oh, okay.
I think that, I mean, I know they have a budget and all that kind of stuff. If I had all the money in the world, I would have spent more time and effort on that scene, because for me, that was one of my favorite scenes in the movie, because it was just so exciting, and that one thing came out of that guy's car and was like, like, chop the other guy's car off. Yeah.
Some like metal.
Yeah.
Some metal blade.
I wanted that to come out and just get the car. I was waiting for that thing to come out.
See, I had a lot of issues with this one. I did. I'll try to be actually really nice. Lighting was awesome. And the fog was like, visually they actually made it like really cool looking for what they worked with at nighttime, quote unquote. The one of the big main problems, or like big conflicts that they purposely set up in the Grease story, is the T-Birds versus the Scorpions. I didn't feel really any conflict between these two groups in the live production. Like, we saw a Scorpion here and there, but there was hardly any interaction for me to feel like, oh, these guys are a threat. And then when it came to the actual Thunder Road scene, and the way that they filmed it, and it was like, shake of the car, shake, oh, we're racing. No, because that was literally it. It was like they were on a rig and like shaking both of these cars.
And then they would be like,
and then at the end, the last shot, it's like what they do in the film, which, I mean, again, we keep going to the film, but what is better in film, what translates better, is like an actual visual cue of like who won something at the end. This performance, because the way that they filmed it, when it was like, okay, the race is done, who won? I didn't know.
I know.
Until the people came around, and like we all who followed the Grease story, we know that the T-Birds won. But there was no clear winner, and I didn't feel the conflict between Scorpion and T-Birds were resolved at all.
I am so glad that you mentioned that, because I agree with you 100%. And I thought the guy that they cast is like what do they call it? What is his? Because they call it something about his face, but
Creative face.
Oh,
Creative
but they changed it on
They
this one.
changed it on this one, but
What was it?
I don't know, because I remember I was like, what did he say?
I don't know, because he
Hatchet
hardly
face.
said anything.
They said hatchet face or
Yeah,
something.
Yeah,
something
hatchet face.
like
I think that's what it was.
Face.
But I thought the casting of like his character was cast so perfectly. I thought the guy, for the small scenes he was in, he was really good in them, and I thought he embodied that sort of classic, look, but also the overall like bully type, the Scorpio or Scorpion type thing, whatever you're going for. But I agree with you. I wish I would have seen more of that, and they would have had more build up to that. How did they do that in the movie where like they didn't have it in this? That's where I was confused. I was like, how did that not happen? Is it just me?
How did what not happen?
Like that, the creating that sort of like tension,
conflict.
And like, the conflict.
Well, we see it like in the film and just in production, there was like a lot of heated moments between like these guys are almost gonna fight each other and like beat each other to a pulp. We get a lot more individual moments where there's like real conflict between these guys. And this, we had like one or two lines of exchange, and there wasn't like any. These guys are threat. We got to watch out for them. They're taking our women. They're threatening us every single day. It's like they really were just like other guys that are on the same.
It was like,
turf.
oh, okay, like this is the high school rival that you kind of have a rival with, but you're really friends with, type of thing. That's what it felt like for me.
Yeah,
I agree.
It wasn't as satisfactory.
And one other thing I want to ask you, because I asked you during. Whenever it was happening, the whole thing. I know she's like,
I'm like, I'm trying to remember.
With the whole, oh, look at this penny for good luck thing.
Yeah.
They changed that, right?
They changed that because it was actually, I believe it was Jan who says the line, see a penny, pick it up all day long and have good luck. And they gave that line to Danny, and it was in a different type of line. Oh, see a penny, pick it up, blah, blah, blah.
I felt like for that part, I thought in the movie at least it was an accident. It was just kind of random that she dropped it. I don't know, maybe I just missed that.
They dropped the penny and then he goes to pick it up and then his head gets hit.
This one, the way they played it during the live Grease tonight was that obviously it was on purpose to knock him out so he could stay back and be safe for his girlfriend.
baby.
Did I miss that though? Because I
might have
could
just
have
been-
swore that in the movie they did not play that route at all. It was just an accident
Right.
that he got.
That's
hit in the
how I
head.
felt as well.
Okay.
And I'm so glad you said that. 'Cause I thought
Yeah.
it was crazy.
I know, I was like, I don't wanna say anything that's not-
In the movie, yes, I'm like, well, yes, of course, like you said, they gave that part to Danny, so he was like, saving him and having to drive. But yeah, in the movie, it feels as though it actually is legitimately an accident, and like he's just does step up, but it's just it was very much a moment that
liked it. I mean, it was different.
It shows
but
a friendship, I guess.
It was
aspect to
different, but I liked it better because I thought, okay, well, this guy is really like trying to be there for his friend rather than, oh, this random penny here, let's hit our head on this car door.
Okay.
I liked the storyline of it more because he was really saying, hey, I want you to be there for your girlfriend.
And I'm here for you.
Yeah. I liked the way that they did that brotherhood moment,
But in the end, Danny got to race.
Yeah.
So I think as much as that changed that line, it still moved the story forward in a way, I guess.
Yeah.
So, of course, Danny wins. And then we get the whole reprise of Look at Me and Sandy D. Sandy's character turning point moment where she decides she doesn't want to be the good girl anymore just to please her man. Mm-hmm. Did you enjoy Julianne's performance, though? Because I know we keep mentioning the film, but it's like an inner type of singing that we see visually and hear audibly. But in this, she actually performs it. Mm-hmm. And we had a cheer for that as well, because that was also outside.
Yeah.
Well, they changed.
Did you enjoy that, though?
Yeah. I didn't think really much else besides, like, I mean, the one thing that I did notice was that normally Frenchie goes up to her because they have more of a relationship, and but that sort of, they wanted to create this moment between Rizzo and
some resolve there.
Yeah,
because they weren't really friends.
Yeah, but I also
unquote.
felt like I missed a little bit of Sandy and Frenchie's relationship. I didn't feel like was built up as much as it was in the movie as well.
Yeah.
I know I keep going back to the movie, but that really is what we all remember when it comes to Grease. But yeah, I did feel like that was missing for me a little bit, but I didn't mind it, though. I think it was just like I can see why they did it, why they added that in. But in terms of, are you asking in terms of her singing this actual?
Yeah, I mean, it was a very simple song.
Yeah, no, I thought it was.
And she's singing out loud.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because she actually, instead of the inner singing, she actually sang it out.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, I thought it worked. It worked for the scene.
I like how they went ahead and played it on that little,
ramp.
Yeah, and I thought the
that
staging was great for that, by the way.
I was
Yeah,
like,
I thought that. I was
built.
like, that looked like a water. What do you call that?
Yeah, I liked that. I liked how they kind of went back to that, so we saw where they because that was more. It showed where they were rather than this little car exchange that we saw. That we were kind of confused about. It was
were on a
dark. It was
rig.
hazy. It was weird. But I liked how. You know what I'm saying, though. But I liked how they at least put her on the little ramp, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get where they're at now. Before I just thought they were like in a smog area.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we actually cut to commercial because during this is where Julianne Hough has the biggest character change and wardrobe change and hair change and all that. So like she had a good 5 minutes to change into the Grease Sandy
and
that we all know and love.
We saw a lot of the videos that we're talking about that were on their website that they talk about sort of like the idea of how they wanted to do the classic black outfit for Julianne Hough, but they updated it a little bit then just to kind of like fit her body as well, but slightly updated. But I thought it was so on point.
What did they update?
I have no idea because I feel like it looks exactly the same, but apparently they updated it.
Yeah. I did like how throughout the show they did like pay homage to her original outfits, like the dance outfit was like the white one. And like the opening one where she's in the school was kind of. I did like that. I thought, okay, like it really makes us feel like we're in the story and we're like living it all over again. So I did like how those main things they kept the same.
And I will say, and you guys will have to tell me what your perspective was. I guess when it would have been better if you were in. Oh no, wait, yeah, because they're in the gym for this part. But when that scene happened, I legitimately had goosebumps. I was just like, this. It was the best scene. You could tell they put the most time and effort into the scene, and that was when I felt the most chemistry with Julianne and Aaron too. Whereas I felt like in certain parts it was maybe missing for me. That scene was my favorite, where I felt I could feel something, you know, a little bit more with them. But I thought that scene was so well done for especially like what you're working with on the stage, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed it, and because we saw the live production of it, that I liked how they split it up from like the one of the iconic ending numbers to having just between Sandy and Danny together. Like I liked how they put in one location and then brought everyone to a different location
I
for
thought
the
that was
end.
cool.
That felt like more like a finale.
Yeah.
And we were in the ending scene.
We probably can't see us though because it was
no,
crazy.
you can't. It was chaos because where we were placed in these sound stages and whatnot, we were the closest to the carnival.
Okay.
And then everyone was to, like, if you imagine, like, if you're us, the carnival was to the left of us, and all the sound stages were to the right.
Okay.
So that's why we saw the cast members, like, going in between, and we were, like, right in front of the school. So in between scenes, the cast would run literally in front of us, going from school to the next sound stage and back and forth. And so when it went to the school, we saw near the end, everyone's running to the school to do the carnival, like, end scene. Between Sandy and Danny, and then literally the whole cast and crew are running from like both sides, from the school to the other sound stages, all to the carnival. People were just like funneling their way to the carnival at the end.
Yeah.
So can I tell you, you guys, I don't know if you would have seen it being there, when they get on the golf cart things, and they're riding the golf carts to the next like spot. Okay, it was really funny when they showed like a golf cart cam of Aaron and Julianne, and they were just like having so much fun. He was laughing, like they were singing.
Too, yeah.
She was beaming. He was laughing, and that felt so heartfelt to me. And then the funniest part was the second like golf cart thing. They went like over a curb. Did you guys see
saw that. I saw that on the
I was
monitor.
like, oh
I
my
was
God,
like,
they're gonna fall. And like the people I was sitting by, we were all like, oh.
yeah.
I know.
I saw
was
that.
like, oh, I'm so glad it didn't like topple over.
Because
but
it was because I know they had to round a corner that was very like.
They had to round a corner because even like the cast,
yeah,
when they were driving the golf carts in between, they're like, careful, the curve slow down in this area. So like they had a lot of big trams going through at a fast speed, going through like such a small area.
And it was so funny because when they went by us during that time, we were right there. They were all leaning out their car like towards
they're like
us,
wanting to like.
Yeah, it was so cool. Like they were just like reaching out to us. And
I'm surprised they had the actual cast members driving. Like that surprised me. It's not that it was bad. I just they're so consumed with what they're doing. But I mean,
and they're like, all right, now I
think
gotta drive
it's
a
like
tram.
them mostly just having fun.
Oh yeah, no, I thought it was. I mean, I thought it looked great, but I just feel like there's so much room for error, going over a curb.
Otherwise, they would have just had like a random Warner Brothers employee, like in their little suit.
Or like they could have had like one of the teachers do it,
That's true.
or like somebody who was not
someone who was dressed up.
But
yeah, they could.
Either way, I think it worked for the scene. But it was just, I was like, please don't topple over.
I did love
so
that
scary.
little camera though, like where the steering wheel was.
I thought that was cute.
Oh, and speaking of little cameras, they actually had GoPros placed all throughout different sound stations in different areas that were live streaming behind the scenes footage throughout the whole thing.
And I'm gonna go home tonight and watch some of those because we really couldn't see that.
No.
But I did see some of them that were moving, the little GoPro cameras. One of them was labeled like Facebook, Twitter. Like they had like these different cameras that were devoted to each social media site, and they were just like running around. And the whole night was chaos, running around, but it was organized chaos.
It was awesome.
The most beautiful thing ever.
And we had the cast do the curtain calls right in front of us.
That's very cool.
And that's where we had to be screaming at the top of our lungs.
Yeah.
And
cool.
at the end, like seeing Julianne, when they're doing like they're doing the hand jive. I think it was like at that point. I don't remember. I'm trying to think of whatever the point was. And there was one where it was the end, and you could just see she was just like so excited, and you could feel it. And we were talking about it here. We're like, oh my gosh, she must be so happy right now. And she was
so
just
relieved. I
beaming.
imagine.
Yeah.
No, it was great. And then everyone took the bows. I loved Anna Gasteyer. Like,
oh my God, amazing.
We didn't even really talk to her, and I think I told you before, like the show even went live. I was like, I'm just excited to see Anna Gasteyer.
Yeah.
She was like phenomenal.
She's amazing.
I think
she was Principal McGee through and through.
Oh, she was perfect.
She was great.
Flawless.
And I
Broadway legend.
Yeah. I thought for the whole thing, I think when you watch regular TV, they go in, they do their lines, and they do it over and over again until they get it right. Maybe sometimes 3-4 takes, sometimes a lot more if it's in like very involved scene. But at the end of the day, they're like, all right, I memorized my lines for that day. We're done with that day, on to the next. The reason that there was so much energy was this was all or nothing. Like they had been rehearsing for months. That's the great thing about theater is you can see in their face and their eyes and the way that they move that this is it. And I think that was the most exciting thing to view tonight. Watching all the behind the scenes things as well. Because I know you love that kind of stuff, especially. I
love production like no other. And props to the production crew who really did play a part. Yeah. We talked to them a lot behind the scenes. Because they did mention that in between commercials and whatnot, that the production crew's been working on this for like a year.
I'm sure.
And then the cast had, came in later.
Right.
And they had, the cast themselves had a few months because it was like November when it really got started.
And then they got to Warner Brothers.
They actually physically moved to the WB studios, Warner Brothers, in the beginning of January. So they had less than a month to actually physically know the WB surroundings that they're going to be working with. And then to pull off such a feat as this.
Running around from set to set.
Yeah.
Crazy. Amazing.
And, of course, we get the final number where they're all out in the carnival dancing. I really enjoy this.
Yeah.
Because this is when we were also, like, the audience themselves had to shuffle over to the carnival and see them all dancing.
I couldn't see anything at that point.
Yeah, we couldn't see.
We were trying.
We saw hands,
people
and that was
were pushing, and people were saying, move over here, move over there. And all I remember was just hearing everyone screaming and knowing, okay, this is like a lot of energy happening. And then as soon as that was done, it was chaos because all the cast members were running through and they had to like part the sea of civilians.
Yeah.
And like
really
all of them were running through giving everyone high fives, and I could just see the tops of their head. They were like mobbed, but it was great.
It was fun.
I was so moved by the end of it. And the song, the We Go Together.
We Go Together.
That's what I was thinking of. I'm like, why can't I think of what it is? It was just it's so nostalgic. I mean, I got emotional watching it. I literally was like, it was so wonderful. When it's over, I didn't want it to end.
Yes.
I thought it was so well done and so, as a whole, beautifully executed.
Absolutely. And I think, at the end, because everyone's just together and kind of relieved that it's like, it's all
you could tell
over.
that they were relieved.
But like, we saw the cast, the live audience, and the production crew, like, just singing and dancing the last number.
Yeah.
Because, like, it was just a culmination of everything and all their hard work put together. And you can definitely see they had a great time doing it. And like, I'm so glad for people who put in so much work. They had a lot of fun. Even our audience coordinator, who was so positive, who Lord knows how stressed he was out like the day, but like you would have never thought it. Like every production person who worked on it was phenomenal.
A lot of the Twitter feed that I was looking at during the show was, I would say like 90%, maybe I'm overestimating, but I think it was 90%, was like really positive. And I was proud as just a viewer and someone who just loves entertainment and loves the art of theater and the art of making television and movies. I was really just happy that people are responding in a positive way and kind of respecting what they were trying to do.
I agree, because so many live. I mean, we've seen maybe 3 or 4 live musicals come out recently, and like some of them were good. Yeah, but like there's a lot of negative comments on those, and I don't know because I literally just got here, but like how, like you're saying, it was more of a positive thing on social media. Like the majority of people,
from what I saw,
excited about it.
From what I saw, I think a lot of people were like, they're already doing like the little like clips and like the secretary, she was hungover. Like there was some entertainment website that like put it on there, like they go, me tomorrow, and it was just so funny. And I think a lot of people were just people were really excited about people were really excited about it, and people like on social media were putting stuff on Instagram like, I'm so ready to watch this, and did that before it even started. So it was pretty cool. The energy I felt was really good.
Yeah, I think the dancing was on point too. And then it was like after the fact, I realized it was Zach Woodlee who was the coordinator. He was the coordinator of Glee.
Oh, okay.
And I love Glee. I did the Glee after show here, not to self-plug. But like Zach Woodlee, I've actually met Zach Woodlee, and he's just like the nicest guy, very talented. And the fact that like he helped put together Grease Live and just all the strong performances every single time, it was amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so I love this. I love the fact that Dakota, you and I got to be a part of it. What were your last final thoughts of Grease Live?
I I loved it. You did justice to my musical theater geek heart. The standouts to me were really Vanessa Hudgens and Julianne Hough. I think the Pink Ladies kind of overshadowed the T-Birds a little more.
I think so.
But yeah, I was very happy. I didn't want it to end.
I gotta say, for me, Vanessa Hudgens was my favorite character overall. I loved just being behind the scenes. Seeing all of that just made it so much more exciting to be there. I think it gives me a new respect for production crews and even the actors, because so many actors, they'll go in their trailer and wait to come on. They'll show up the last minute and do their thing and get out. But these people were literally running from stage to stage. It showed that they were dedicated.
Full on running.
Yeah, it showed that they were dedicated and that they had put their whole heart and soul into this. And that's where I can really relate, just because of being in theater. I just absolutely adored that aspect of it.
Yeah, I love musical theater, I love musicals, and I love production. And I love when you see so many hard-working people in front and behind just working together to make an amazing production for entertainment.
Yeah.
And what we get out of it and how we feel, and just like having a whole show talking about it, like just the amazingness that it brings everyone together to feel good at the end of the day. I loved it. I think it was fantastic. One of my favorite live musicals that they've had so far out of all the ones that they've released.
Good job, Fox.
And
Good job, Fox.
Great casting, great performances, amazing,
casting.
talented people. And I think the great thing about this production is that there were so many young people who are just so talented, and people that like really speak to our. I mean, we're part of the younger generation now, but like it's just like this new generation of so many talented people, and just putting that in front of the world for everyone to enjoy. It's just like a testament to just actors and performance in and of themselves. So thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you.
Yes,
This was
thank you, guys.
super fun,
So
and
fun.
I'm glad that we got to bring our perspectives to this. I
Yes.
hope you guys all enjoyed. You can please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, iTunes, download, rate, comment, all that
Yes,
at
I wanna hear what you
AfterBuzz
think.
TV.
Yes.
Let us know what you think. You all were great in the live comments, and who followed us as well. Where can everyone keep following you?
At Maria Provenzano on Twitter.
You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at Mr. Dakota T. Jones.
Great, and you can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV. Thank you everyone for listening.
you.
We hope to do more AfterBuzz TV specials. Definitely tune in. If we do
Yes.
more musicals in the future, tune in. Thank you everyone. We'll see you next time.
Have a great night.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.